He's gonna shove it. Yeah! He's gonna shove it.
Alright, the squad. They've only gone and done it again. I swear, I tried to be positive here. I wasn't trying to make anything bad. I just watched this one and it happened. I'm sorry. This company, TNA, man, it's always one step forward and two steps back. They just can't help themselves. Last week they signed Alexander Hammerstone and that got a lot of goodwill with me. I was buzzing and I decided to check out the pay-per-view Sacrifice. Well, it sure was a sacrifice watching this garbage, because in yet another LolTna moment, broadcast problems hit the show and paying customers were left with an almost unwatchable show. You just couldn't make it up. It's hit after hit after hit. I'd feel sorry for them, but when something is almost happening monthly, you can't make excuses for them anymore. This show's Sacrifice takes place at a college in Windsor, Ontario, Canada in front of a sold-out crowd. Before the show, TNA executives in attendance went around the audience removing several pro-Scott D'Amore signs who was recently fired as TNA president. And as you're going to see from this video, that is far from the only thing this show did to piss people off. Here he is, it's Dolph Ziggler, desperately holding up his hands to hope for some fireworks in TNA. He won't get them though. This is his TNA pay-per-view debut match. Since leaving WWE, he split his time between TNA and New Japan Wrestling, and he takes on Steve Maclin. There's no need to grin. There is no video package to explain why they're fighting, so let the Hawk break it down. Basically, it's the whole storyline of new guy has just joined the company and old guy is afraid of losing their spot. Except, it's not your bold spot, not your dog spot, not your acne spot, or not your girl's G spot, it's his wrestling spot. Dolph's in control with a fiery and ferocious start, but it turns when he's sent into the ring pole. Big butterfly backbreaker by Maclin. He's all over Nemeth, talking trash and calling him Dolph. I'm sorry, Nick Nemeth. Another Nemeth comeback is shut down for big backbreaker. Nemeth's next comeback is more successful with an angle slam and some biting and then 9 elbow drops punctuated with a top rope elbow drop for number 10. Maclin throws him out the ring and he has one of the nicest topes I've ever seen. He does miss his diving headbutt which allows Dolph to hit the Fame Asa. Brutal spot now with Dolph in the Tree of Woe. Maclin tries to spear him but instead flies out the ring to the floor. He looks like he's done but proves he isn't when out of the blue he hits a big knee to Dolph's noggin. He also nails a buckle bomb on a tombstone piledriver. Is Nick Nemeth's night over? No, Maclin hits his finisher the KIA but he can't win the match as Dolph collapses out of the ring. The next minute of the match is missed, due to production problems. Fortunately, there's a handy replay that shows Maclin stole the zigzag, but just a 2. Steve Maclin tells the crowd F you as the broadcast cuts out again. This is brilliant, it almost seems deliberate. We come back again to see Dolph stealing Maclin's finisher. It really does take you out of the match when it's interrupted every 20 seconds. Dolph wins this one with 2 super kicks into the zigzag. It looks like they had a decent match with some great moves, but I'm unable to recommend this one because you can barely see it due to the production problems. And I'm not exaggerating, there are large parts of this match missed out. Imagine paying for something that you can barely see. The comedy team for tonight try to run down the show, but they sound like they're speaking a different language due to more production problems. The System are in the back. This is Eddie Slapnut Edwards and beyond average Brian Myers. They say they'll win the tag titles tonight because the system works. Moose says he's going to face Eric Young and hope to get a passing of the torch moment tonight, which seems a bit strange when both men have the same amount of world titles in this company. Once again, no video package for the tag title match, just the taglines. A full minute passes frozen on the taglines without audio. This really allows the bullet points to sink in and you learn a lot about the competitors. I really love this, it's a great show, you can't even see it. Edwards and Myers versus the ABC, the tag team champions, Chris Bay and Ace Austin. They have been tag team champions for 5 months. It's a tough match for me to sit through, not being a fan of any of these people, but I know that some people are fans of them. We're given an interesting fact that Eddie Edwards has now been with TNA for 10 consecutive years and joins names such as AJ Styles, James Storm, Bobby Roode and the real slapnuts on a list of wrestlers who stayed with TNA for 10 non-stop years. The difference is Eddie is here because he has no other option. Ace Austin does a handstand on the ring apron into a nice spear from Brian Myers. The heels are in control. Not much is happening, so it doesn't upset me too much when more broadcasting problems hit the show. We come back as Ace Austin throws countless kicks. A cool double team move is attempted, but you can't even see it. This happens multiple times throughout this match. The best moment is Chris Bay jumping over Miss Pierce onto the heels. A couple more close pins and a couple more broadcast interruptions before we arrive at the finish. The interruptions almost ruined that too, but it just about kicks back in just in time to see Edwards hit the Boston Knee Party to capture the tag titles. Once again I'm unable to recommend a match. Not due to the broadcast interruptions, I'm unable to recommend any Eddie Slapnut Edwards match. Connor the Rat enters and starts throwing around the timekeeper, what a dick. He also cuts a promo. He's basically upset that he's not the only monster in TNA anymore, because the other is Pierre Ouellette. And they're having a no DQ match. PCO of course has history in TNA as the Masked Man X, who featured in my last video. A very talented guy, maybe deserves a bit more recognition in wrestling. He's got superpowers too and he thinks he's Frankenstein, and he's also got a dodgy haircut. The first big move is a Russian leg sweep on a trash can. Quickly, PCO is smacked off the ring apron and falls onto a chair bridge. For a man in his 50s, PCO is still nuts and still hitting huge dives and gets slammed on the stage ramp. I want some of what he's on. Eventually, PCO snaps and chokeslams Connor off the ramp and through a table. Connor rises up and returns to the ring, only to get an inverted DDT into a chair pile, and the PCO moonsault ends the match for the three. A short match, but hey, at least you got to see the whole thing uninterrupted, which makes it match of the night so far. Quick question. Why is Joe Hendry always on the pay-per-view pre-show? He was supposed to be the digital media champion. He can actually cut a promo and he's charismatic. Top Dollar caused him to lose his digital media title or something. Their interview makes the pay-per-view though, and Santina Marella, who is the TNA management figure, sets up a match for Impact. Great, so now this pay-per-view is being used to push matches on Impact. Some women have a tag match for the Knockouts tag titles. 4 women with multicoloured hair fight before they even make it to the ring. It's the team of Dani Luna and Jody Fret versus Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich, the latter being the champions. The match goes about 3 minutes. Team Spitfire win the tag titles with a roll-up. All 4 women look the same and I was glad when it ended. Can't recommend this match. Things suddenly become more interesting because up next is the only match I was looking forward to seeing. If anyone watched my recent video, TNA out of the blue managed to tie Alexander Hammerstone down to a 1-year contract. This gave me hope that the show wasn't doing as badly as media suggests. Then they put on a show like this. Hammerstone of course battled Josh Alexander on the January pay-per-view, and that was a really fun, enjoyable match which Josh Alexander won, and now they're going to do it again. So here he is, the love child of Brock Lesnar and Shane Douglas. Hammer has had a haircut, but Perk Alexander hasn't because he didn't have any hair to cut in the first place. It's the battle of the Alexanders. Josh works a side headlock for a while until Hammerstone hits a big back body drop. And then he gives us a beautiful smile. Josh and Hammer keep exchanging chops and clotheslines in the corner. Josh dodges one and hits a German suplex which Hammer no-sells and clotheslines him from the ring. Hammerstone hits a powerbomb on the ring apron. It's all the Hammer now with a big backbreaker. The crowd are just not on his side. Josh tries a dive, but he's caught and suplexed overhead. Another backbreaker with authority stuns the crowd into silence. After a very long time, Josh Alexander managed to hit a diving knee. This leads to a cool standing trade-off. This is the intensity I'd hoped for. Josh Alexander pops a perk and hits 10 German suplexes without release. Well, the last one left Hammerstone releasing into his nappy. The fight heads out the ring with a crossbody. Hammer almost gets counted out. Josh crashes in with a big flip dive. Back in the ring, Hammer tells Josh, "Shut up or I'll smack you one," which makes him spray. Hammer's missile dropkick doesn't work as Josh gets him in the ankle lock. Then, there's a ref bump. Wasn't expecting that. Hammer just shrugs, which is a nice nod to some future character development. Alexander ankle locks him and Hammer taps out, but no ref. Josh cringes when he tries to block a punch, and it's so comical. Alexander just boots him in the nutsack. Hammerstone hits the Nightmare Pendulum for the 3. So, chances are they'll be having a deciding match, as that's 1 win each. Hammerstone does a funny celebration with Alexander's headgear and it ends. A good match, not as good as their last one, but it had less time dedicated to it. Thankfully, no broadcast problems. In the back, Time Machine are interviewed. They don't seem to be on the same page. Shelley seems to be the main issue here. He's angry with Kushida, who threw in the towel at the last pay-per-view, which cost Shelley his world title. This match will be a 6-man tag. The grizzled young veterans team up with Mustafa Ali, who's not been in TNA very long, but he's already the X Division champion after beating Chris Sabin on the last pay-per-view. He's doing this sort of presidential character, and he recently had a good segment on Impact where they put some effort in to make him actually look like a star and offer us some entertainment. To be fair, the dude looks like $1 million. They take on Time Machine, Shelley, Sabin, and Kushida. Kushida seems to be the most popular man in this matchup. Mustafa Ali is terrified of Chris Sabin. Time Machine hit triple basement drop kicks to Gibson. Good moment here where Ali screams at Sabin that you are not the man that the roster needs, and then Sabin just slaps him in his chest to shut him up. Ali is bossing around his teammates, but he can't stop the tag to Kushida. Kushida has a very nice hot tag where he just keeps doing acrobatics and flying everywhere. The match breaks down. Kushida and Shelly are working well together despite not getting on lately. Shelly flies out the ring whilst Ali almost rolls up Kushida. Ali tries a crossbody which is countered for a mid-air punch to the gut. The young veterans hit a doomsday device on Kushida, which isn't good enough. Sabin dominates for a bit now with that DDT he likes to use, and then he flies out the ring, desperate to get his hands on Ali. Some of Ali's friends try to jump Sabin on the ramp. They don't manage it, and then check out this Chris Sabin clothesline turning Ali inside out. All three members of Time Machine are able to work together again. They sandwich Ali in the corner. Ali keeps slipping out of everything. Shelly tags in against Chris Sabin's wishes. It leads to Sabin accidentally kicking his own partner's head off, and then it ends after grizzled young veterans hit double knees and Ali hits a 450. This one was alright and thankfully wasn't interrupted. Nothing spectacular here, but I appreciated the camera work. Wow, my eyes deceiving me? Up next it's a video package, the first of the show, and it's for the Knockouts title. But first, Ash by Elegance is here to watch the match. And it's for the Knockouts title. It's a triple threat between Young Parrot, Xia Brookside, Tasha Steelz and the champion, Royden Grace. She literally looks like a chemical catastrophe. I'm starting to actually worry about this woman. She's still getting bigger. At this point, she might be the most muscular woman of all time. I hope she's getting regular blood work, because that's concerning. The thing some people don't get about steroids is, yes, they make you look great, but there is such a thing as too many where it starts getting really dangerous and stressful on your heart and the rest of your body. And let's be honest, history is not kind on those people who really got big. I'm not knocking the hustle, I know this would have taken a hell of a lot of work, I'm just worried about her personally. The storyline here is once again lazy, it's exactly the same as the first match. Tasha Steelz is being a dick to newcomer Xia Brookside, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. In this match, Tasha Steelz is the only heel. The best moment of this one is Jordan lifting Tash with one arm and clotheslining Xia with the other and then landing the muscle buster. Another decent moment is Jordan catching a crossbody as Tasha flies with a bulldog. Grace continues dominating as she should. She eventually gets taken out of a double team, but she ain't down long as she does something that I've never seen before, spinning both girls around. I don't think she was supposed to drop Tasha at the end, but points for creativity overall. I love how Ash by Elegance is supposed to be this classy character, yet her tattoo on her arm looks trashy and cheap, thus ruining her persona. Talking of trash, Xia Brookside tries to kick the trash out of Royden's haircut. All three fart on the apron where Grace is taken out of a code breaker. Brookside kicks Steelz down and then dives off the top with a crossbody. She screams in agony, it did admittedly sound like a rough landing. Ash by Elegance is getting drunk, it's the only way to enjoy this show. I'm kidding, this is a really fun match. Tasha is thrown into Ash, which makes her flip out. She's embarrassed and wants to leave. Her helper slips and falls over on the ramp, which was hilarious. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it was well done and funny. That also sets up a feud between Brookside and Ash, so beaks up from the Hawk. Brookside DDTs Grace and bombs Steelz on top of Grace. Everyone starts hitting dives after this. They do a good job making you believe that Grace might actually lose here. Another unique move is Grace smacking Steelz into a code red. This was well done too, because she was only on Brookside's back for a second, so the move didn't look too overly contrived or choreographed. Then Grace just connects with a needle driver on Brookside for the 3. Yeah, this was really good, and once again, no broadcast interruptions. TNA treated us here. As usual, the Knockouts outshine the men, and yeah, Brookside seems to be a good hiring and potential to be a plucky young babyface. Moose and Eric Young is the main event for the world title. Once again, we're treated to a video package. Moose is saying that Eric Young has been with TNA for a very long time. Well, so has Moose. It must be 8 or 9 years at this point. Moose won the belt from Shelly, and now Eric wants to win the world title in his home country of Mexico North. Young is coming into this one with damaged ribs following attacks from Moose. I've always thought that Moose just looks perfect with a world title. I found myself zoning out of this match at the start, then Moose reminded me that I need to watch, hilariously threatening a cameraman.
Right to the ribs.
Lots of people getting slammed on that ramp tonight. Young reverses a powerbomb on the ramp too and dives down on Moose. Moose strips off Eric Young's rib tape and makes some more friends. Lots of heat for this match, and that's thanks to Moose for reacting to what the crowd do. It's the sign of a good pro wrestler. He really seems to be in his element at this point of his career. Eventually Young ducks a chop which sounded brutal against the post. The big Uranagi shuts EY down. Moose gets distracted again by shouting at people in the crowd. That allows Young to suplex him. Eric Young almost wins with the Death Valley Driver, and also again with the diving elbow of doom. The Moose is able to reverse his next move and throw Young with the Sky High. They up the intensity now and it's pretty good. Young pile drives the big man but his foot's on the rope. Soon after, Moose hits a stun gun and the spear. Eric Young is not beaten, but based on how he's wrestled this one, I don't believe his ribs are injured at all. Young manages to hit the pile driver on the ring apron now, and Jesus, a third one on the floor. Something dramatic has to happen here for Moose to not be beaten. Young gets him in the ring and he tries a fourth pile driver, when predictably some slapnuts run out to try and help Moose. Moose has now recovered, but Young jumps on him and hits the Canadian Destroyer. It should be over, but again the Geeks stop Eric Young's win by pulling the ref out. The ref is about to call for a DQ, but Eric Young begs the match to continue. A masked man attacks Eric Young with a cable, and straight away it's revealed to be Frankie Kazarian. It's funny how they did this. If this was the old TNA, this would not be revealed for months after. Who was the mystery man? Well, it was Frankie Kazarian. No need for a mystery. He was suspended by TNA for 2 weeks leading up to this. Young is in the ring and Moose hits a spear for the free. Overbooked, predictable and unrealistic. The man was hit with 4 pile drivers and 1 minute later he stood up smiling and waving. This leads me to the conclusion that Eric Young's pile driver is the weakest of all time. And talking of Eric Young, why didn't he sell his ribs? He was definitely supposed to, they were wrapped up at the start. At least it sets up a feud between Eric Young and Kaz. Not sure what's next for Moose though, it's over. So that's the TNA pay-per-view, 11 matches, 3 of which were completely unwatchable. It felt like if they hadn't had these problems it would have been a solid pay-per-view. Nothing incredible, but solid for sure. This is horrible timing. TNA is trying to attract viewers and win back old viewers, and then they screw the fans with this. I appreciate it's not deliberate, but Anthem really need to up their game as it's not acceptable to have 3 matches unviewable. But it's all okay, squad. As a way of making it up to the fans, TNA have done us all a massive favour. This could change your lives. Are you ready for this? Are you listening? To apologise for the disruption, TNA have offered any paying viewer the opportunity to receive 15% of any purchase in the TNA shop. Jesus Christ, I can't imagine anyone taking them up on that offer. This is a horrible form of apology. Imagine stealing someone's money and as an apology for doing that, you're going to take even more of their money. They should have sent out free TNA hats or something. That would have been a great way to get the brand out there too. It would have turned a negative into a double positive.
Hey folks, it's John Bad Johnson here. It's not a matter if you need some TNA merchandise, it's a matter of how much. Recently affected by the broadcast interruptions on the pay-per-view? Well, I can save you money for free if you just buy some TNA merch. All you need to do is use my special code FATBOY to receive 15% off. Have you ever wanted to look like a scruffy witch with a bad haircut? Well, celebrate Halloween for free with a new Decay tee. Is Slapnut Edwards your favourite wrestler in TNA history? Well, trust in Slapnuts and trust the system. How about this incredible Dolph Ziggler tee, which simply says, Wanted Man? If you wear this shirt, we personally guarantee you'll become a wanted man of the opposite sex, maybe even your own sex, and maybe you'll even have sex. And if you buy this t-shirt, Dolph Ziggler personally guarantees to arrive at your house for sex. Have you ever wanted to play a trading card game with characters that nobody's ever heard of? You can shock your friends for free by pulling out a Bapinda Guja. They won't know what hit them. How about a Slam Buddy? Perfect for playing with yourself whilst you watch TNA. And for more, just head over to the website for free and stay tuned for more ways that you can save money with John Bad Johnson for free at savewithjohnbad.com.
The show, when I could watch it, was okay. It just felt a bit meaningless. The lack of storylines is still completely unacceptable. I thought this was something Tommy Dreamer would understand. The Lockouts match was really good, and I enjoyed Alexander vs Hammerstone. Other than that, you can skip this show. Due to 3 of the matches literally being unwatchable, I give this show a 3 out of 10, and that's being generous. And if you don't agree with that, my tongue will get venomous.